Welcome to the I Married My Best Friend podcast with Brian and Melissa Mitchell. Whether you're married, engaged, dating, or simply hoping for a God-centered relationship one day, this podcast is for you. Through stories, laughter, hard-learned lessons, and 26 years of friendship, we'll explore how faithfulness to God can anchor a marriage through every challenge in every season. So, subscribe, join the conversation, and let's grow together. Let's start the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the I Married My Best Friend podcast.
Listen, I am Brian Mitchell.
I am Melissa Mitchell.
And this podcast is going to tell the story of our 26-year relationship.
Oh,
right, 26 years. And we're going to talk about the lessons that we've learned, both the good and the bad. And you're going to hear some raw testimonies. You're going to hear how we've overcome so many things and how God was the anchor in helping us do that. All right. So, again, welcome. So you're joining us right now. So if you can do me a favor, if you can make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Right now you're watching this podcast via YouTube, and the audio and the video portions of this podcast will be available on all of the other platforms in just a little while. So just make sure that you do that for us, all right? Okay, so Miss Mitchell, the first thing I think that's fitting for us to open this podcast with is what I like to call Petty Chronicles.
Y'all praying for me?
All right, so the Petty Chronicles, basically, I have self-deputized myself as the petty king. Now, the reason why I call myself the petty king is because pettiness is my love language. It's the way that I let Miss Mitchell know how I care and love. And, you know, she's the queen of my heart. And the only way for me to do that is to be petty. So, how do you feel being married to a petty king?
Go back to work.
She always trying to get rid of me, and I don't understand. So, like I said, pettiness is my love language. And so, we literally just celebrated 21 years of marriage a couple of days ago, right? And so, one of the things I think that's always funny is how we literally are best friends, right? We met in 1999, and this how we met story always has an interesting perspective. I want you to tell your side because most people know my side of the story, but I'm gonna let you go first. How did we meet, Miss Mitchell?
So we met in marketing class. Our teacher at the time was the late Dr. Jones, Thelma Jones.
Yeah. So
Dr. Jones normally have this spiritual outburst, I would say.
Okay.
And so in the shop, she's at the board teaching.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she just said, if you like somebody, you should tell them.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've seen Brian in class, ever in school. And I sit behind him. This man turned around and said, Lisa, I like you.
Yes.
I looked at him.
Yes.
You are not cute. So look around.
But let's take everything she just said. She said that she had never seen me before, didn't even know I existed. And then from the heavens above, a message dropped down in Dr. Jones' spirit and said, hey, if you like somebody, you should tell them. Ain't that the Lord? She didn't even know I existed, fam. But
a stalker.
Lies in the sea. You're not going to put this on the internet that I stalked you? No, not at all. But it was so funny because I don't know what it was. Yes, I have been watching you for a little while, not stalkerish, but I have been watching you for a little bit. And it just so happened that day you were sitting behind me. I can't even tell you what the seating arrangement was prior to
there
this.
was no seating arrangement.
Okay, so then
you just sat where you sat.
I just sat where I sat then. All right. So she puts that out in the atmosphere, right?
And I took it and ran with it.
I took it and ran with it. Now, she shot me down.
I did.
Hard.
I did, but I guess it was the Lord.
Okay, Jesus.
As my bishop would always say, I did the church call. So he was out of school for a minute.
Yep.
We'll be back up. Even though I was like, no, you're not cute. He still gave me a picture, a senior head picture with his number on the back of it. So he was out of school for a while, not knowing why. And so, again, as I said, as my bishop would say, you did the church call. Yeah. You know how your saints ain't been to church, you call and check on them.
So basically, I was on the sick and shut-in list. That's what she said. That's what she said. Because I was on the sick and shut-in list.
Yup. You ain't been in school for a while. So I called.
Yeah.
Dude had as slight as idea of who I was. I had to remind him of who I was. I tell you the truth. But anywho, we started talking. We became friends. Well, let's start communicating. We didn't really want just friends then. We would start communicating. But the thing was, every time this man would talk, he would always talk about God. I'm just like, I wasn't in the church like that. I'm just like, okay, who is this God you talking about?
Yeah.
Right? So as I keep learning, get to know him, we officially started dating around in November. Yeah. Was it November? Yeah, I think so. So it'll be 27 years this year that we've been together. Yeah. Because my first, because our first actually picture I think we took with family was at, I want to say, Uncle Stan, Uncle Ron house. Upstairs that was Easter.
That was Easter of the next year. So, we got a lot of memories. Some of them we're going to have to recall, and maybe ask a couple of witnesses, hey, you remember when this happened? Because we've been together for so long. The one reason why we did this podcast, well, first of all, Miss Mitchell, we didn't really introduce ourselves. I'm going to assume that the reason why you are watching us today is because you are vaguely familiar with us. But if not, let me officially introduce ourselves. So I'm gonna let you go first, Miss Mitchell, because husbands is supposed to let the wives go first. So just introduce yourself. I'm trying.
Look at the Jesus. Ain't he doing it?
He's in the room right there.
So again, I am Melissa Mitchell.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think what you want to know about me. So I'm a worshiper. Yeah. I'm not a singer, but I am a worshiper because, as my husband say, and as my best friend would say, you got to keep real quick. Right?
Yeah.
I love the Lord deeply.
Yeah.
I have a heart for people.
There you go.
So, as an intercessor, it's a whole different level.
Yeah.
I'm very, very introvert.
Mm-hmm. Big
time. Like, I can be in a room with people, but I'm in a corner.
Yeah.
Either reading, on my phone, but I'm reading. It's just, I like people, but I don't like people. So, I love y'all, but it is what it is. Being an introvert I love me. Yeah. And I love my peace of mind. So, me protecting my peace, I do what I do.
Yeah. Please be patient with her. God ain't through with her yet.
Please.
All right.
Tell you that, please.
All right. So yes, I'm Brian Mitchell. naturally, I am just a silly, goofy, petty person. However, I have a lot of interests. Since we were talking about church, she brought up a lot of church stuff. I am a first assistant pastor at our church. I'm a worship leader. I've been singing and leading worship, I think, since I was 15. So we're talking almost 30 years. The one thing, a little bit of an aside, the one thing we're going to talk about is how much we've grown in this marriage. Because just saying that out loud, the fact that I've been leading worship for 30 years is insane to me. But yeah, so I like people. I like to communicate, teach people, help people learn about God, learn about the Bible, and I'm just naturally a person who loves to see someone like the light go off in their head as far as them learning a new subject or something like that, right? So that's who I am in a very, very condensed nutshell. As we talk and as we go through this podcast, you will learn much more about each one of us. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, Miss Mitchell, is our why, right? One thing that you'll learn about Miss Mitchell is she really, 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 really focuses on purpose, focusing on understanding, like, why am I doing this, right? And so this podcast actually is the brainchild of Miss Mitchell. She wanted to have us talk about our story because it is a unique one. It's one filled with ups and downs, a bunch of craziness. But we feel that it's important for us, as we've had people pour into us and help us along the way. We feel like it's time for us to kind of pay that forward and give some help to some other people. So, Ms. Mitchell, can you add to that? Like, why are we doing this podcast?
So one of the things God revealed to me is that because of what I've endured, I have to be very transparent, right? And so with that, I wouldn't want nobody to go through what I had to go through, right? I would want somebody to be better than me, overcome everything, right? And not allowing what you go through to keep you stuck. Because there's parts of my life that I realized that I've allowed certain things to keep me stuck, to keep me stagnant. And so therefore I had to overcome of getting out of that hump. Right? And so therefore, with this podcast, my prayer is that what we have endured, what we have overcome together, that it helps somebody else. It helps somebody's marriage not to quit, right? But to revisit the table. Because God has not given us a spirit of fear, right? And so therefore, yes, every marriage is different. But the thing is, you have to choose one another each and every day. Even though we mess up, right? We still have to choose our spouse. We still have to choose to forgive. God tells us to forgive 7 times 70. Man, how many times have we forgiven? Right? If we can forgive somebody we don't know, we still got to forgive somebody we married to. Right? And I've learned that even in marriage, you have to be patient with your spouse. Yeah. We know statistics always say that the woman always grows quicker than the husband, right? But still, even in that, yes, it's true, but we still have to be, as wives, we still have to be patient with our spouse. One thing I always tease him about is that I just told you X, Y, and Z, but then somebody else come along and say something to you, and it's like a ding. And honestly, I used to get upset about that. But like, hold on, I just told you that. But God had to say, but sometimes it might not just get it right off just because you got an intercessor in the house. You might not want to listen. And so I had to be okay with that. Like, okay, Lord, however he get it, he'll get it. But I'm still going to say what I need to say.
Sure. Absolutely.
I'm still might be a little in my feelings and my flesh about it.
Yeah.
But then, you know, but I suck it up. I get over it.
So true. So true. But listen, I do want to make this disclaimer, right? So we are not licensed marriage counselors.
Not at all.
Marriage therapists, none of that stuff. And so a lot that we're going to share, we are not advocating for you to do the exact same thing, right? Because a lot of the mistakes I made, a lot of people wouldn't stay. I'm just gonna put that out there.
That's real.
Right? But you have to seek God.
Yes.
That's gonna be the core of this podcast. Yes, we're best friends. Yes, we've shared a lot. We laugh, we joke. I'm petty. She's not as petty, but she's trying to get there. But what our experience, hopefully what you can gain from this podcast is that you can see two people who have made mistakes, but we stay committed to God.
Yeah.
And God is the one that's told us to stay.
Yeah.
God is the one that's told us to pray for each other, to never to give up on each other, to separate for a moment, but then to come back together and say, hey, what did God tell you? What are you committing to do for God? Because if I try to do something just to please her, I can get out of bounds with God. And that's something that for a long time, I was really afraid of what she would say, what she would think. And I didn't even consider what God was going to say and what he was going to think. And so I got in trouble with God, and I got in trouble with her.
Because the biggest thing is I always tell him, you got to do it God's way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? If it's not God's way, honestly, I don't want it.
Yeah.
It has to be God's way. In order for God to get the glory out of our marriage, out of your marriage, it has to be God's way. It cannot be man's way, but God's way. Because God ordains marriage. And I'm a true believer of allowing God to truly be the third strand in your marriage will help you and mold you. Even in your disputes, right? If you're married to a pastor, right? There are moments where he will say, okay, this is Pastor Brian talking, or this is your husband talking, right? Or this is babe talking, right? And so you have to revert the two, right? Again, we're best friends. So for me, I have to go to him and say, this is your best friend talking, right? Because he knows if Lisa shows up, it's a whole different ball game, right? So y'all would know that my nickname is Lisa, okay? My family can have given that nickname. And so Lisa is very raw. So there are moments where he tells me all the time, I don't want to see Lisa. I need to see Lisa. Because Lisa is a true fighter. I'm just going to put that out there. And so therefore, I have to talk to myself, keep myself humbled and calm. Yeah. And like, Lord, look, you see your people? Mm-hmm. Take care of it. Take care of my lightweight.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up this first episode, here's what I want you to do, okay? So, like I said, this podcast is available on YouTube, and it's going to be available on the audio as well. So as you're listening to this, as you're watching this, please make sure that you do me a favor and download this podcast and subscribe to it. If you're watching it on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, all right? Because we are just two people who are best friends. We've been married for over 20 years, and we just want others to hear our story. And again, this isn't anything about, we're not trying to show you how to live your life and how you should treat your husband or how you should treat your wife. We just want to show you that if God can keep us,
Jesus,
then there's hope for you, right?
There is hope.
Yeah, there's hope for you, and I just hope that is the main lesson that you hear and see through this podcast. All right, so Miss Mitchell, any final words before we end today's episode?
My biggest takeaway for today would be pray together. Talk to each other, not at each other. Talk to each other.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so listen, until next time, we will see y'all, and y'all have a great one. All right, bye. Thank you for listening to the I Married My Best Friend podcast. This podcast is available everywhere where podcasts can be found. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe.